Howdy, and welcome back to the Ineligibles podcast. I am Will Stone. He's Hayden Garland. No Chase Caldwell, but we are joined by a very special guest who's been on here before. Welcome back to California, Kyle.
Howdy, how we doing?
What's up, Kyle?
Kyle, I meant to ask you before we started. We got into too many other topics, but is it snowing over there or something?
Okay, so where I live, no, it's not snowing, but my grandparents live 1,000 feet above me in elevation, and it is snowing there. It's wild. Hayden loves NASCAR. I know Hayden's a big NASCAR fan. But I was offered NASCAR tickets last weekend in Fontana, which is down in LA, and I almost took them except for the fact that we couldn't get down there. All the highways are just closed. We can't get to Southern California. So we are legitimately two different states right now. There's Northern and Southern California, just like the Carolinas, just like divide us, just like that.
Yeah. Well, definitely appreciate you coming on. We're dealing with our own bad weather over here. I think we're going to make it, fingers crossed. But you and I are big NFL draft guys. It's one of my favorite times of the year, personally, because there's just endless possibilities with these players, and the free agents are sexy, and and things like that, and big contracts. But you win Super Bowls by drafting well, and
we'll look at the Chiefs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to spend most of our time on that. But before we do, you're the official Pac-12 correspondent of the Ineligibles podcast. So been some changes out west. So just your general thoughts on what's going on out there.
I mean, it's heartbreaking to lose Southern California, even though they're the lesser state of the two. Sure. Unfortunately, USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten really does hurt. Doesn't make sense. Like, you know what? Good luck to the USC tennis program going back to Piscataway, New Jersey for a February tennis tournament. I hope they really enjoy that. I hope that the baseball team enjoys playing in College Park, Pennsylvania 3 times a year, through the snow. I really hope they enjoy that. But at the end of the day, the USC and UCLA programs have left us kind of out to dry. Kind of a huge opportunity for the Pac-12 to go and get the heart of California, Fresno State, and then the heart of the Pacific Northwest, future Pacific Northwest, an up-and-coming town like Boise, Idaho, get Boise State, Fresno State, 2 pretty good football programs in the pipeline. Well, I'm not going to say powerhouses, but like good programs, solid programs, right? Like good enough. They've played, Boise's played in multiple New Year's Six Bowls. Fresno State continues to keep playing for Mountain West championships. Probably need to get the call up. They decide to go with San Diego State and the Pacific Power in Southern Methodist. Doesn't make sense to me. And you know what? Like, I love George Kirilakov, or whatever Georgie K's name is. I don't ask me to pronounce it, but
yeah, they
continue to make the wrong decision. And you know what? Like, I'm a Mountain West guy now. I love Fresno State. I'm a big Valley guy. Keep the Valley green. And I'm going to continue to pull for Fresno State, no matter what they do. And the Pac-12, if they die, they die. It's up to them. I don't care anymore.
Yeah,
I love West Coast football. I think it's better for everybody when the West Coast is good, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it definitely, like, obviously geographically, Texas and OU made a lot of sense with the SEC, like
especially what they have.
Yeah, and like, it's it's big brands. It's the geography makes pretty good sense. It actually makes it probably even better for a team like A&M to having some closer games like that are within driving distance. But like, that's 3 time zones away for some of those trips. Like, that's just like, I listened to the Cover 3 podcast the other day, and like, we've talked about potential future SEC scheduling, but they were talking about like, what's the Big 12 or the Big 10 schedule going to look like? Like, you have to put, obviously, USC and UCLA get each other, but they're going to have 2 other games, permanent opponents who they play every year that are going to be more than, at least 2 time zones away. So,
Yeah, but so just think about this. So you're going to have, Ohio State, USC, UCLA basketball games. They're going to start 10 o'clock Pacific time, right? And that's 10 o'clock Pacific time is 7. That's 7 o'clock our time. Like, that's a normal start time. Best case scenario, they start at 8. But like, if you look at the FS1, ESPN schedules, like there's the early window and the late window. Like, they can't fit into the early window. So what are they going to do? Start at 2 o'clock West Coast time? Like, that's not going to happen. Or 2 or 3 o'clock West Coast time. That's probably not going to happen. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So they're going to start to the fall. They're going to fall to the late time schedule. So you have all these kids that are flying out from Pennsylvania to do all this, and it's a farce. It's a farce what the NCAA is trying to do, and you know what, like, good for them. I'm happy for them, but I appoint Will Stone the czar of college football, and I hope that you can undivide/redivide the conferences, and Fresno State can play USC every year like we should and beat their ass.
that's okay. You can say
beat their
that.
behinds. Okay, beat their behinds, and then
We've had much worse on here.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, look, I'm a solid listener, but we can go play Oregon State every year, and we can see Luke Musgraves every year play up against real Division I competition like Fresno State instead of going up and playing Washington State and the rest of these D2 schools like Stanford and Cal. So whatever, it's up to them.
So my final comment on that before we move into the draft and the combine, I do find it a little ironic that the Pac-12 was the only conference that actually changed their name to fit the teams they had, and now they're back. If they had just left it alone, it's back to the Pac-10 now.
We'll get 12.
The Big Ten has 16 teams. The Big 12.
Why are we changing? Like, knowing that things are going to change, though, why do we adjust names of conferences based on that, of the number of teams? Why do that? That seems just silly to me.
Look, Bill Simmons has said this for a long time. I'm ready for Barack Obama to be the sports czar, right? Former president, super diplomatic, super thoughtful. Barack Obama, sports czar. Like, he's a guy that can be like, hey, we need to make the NBA like 2.5 point line. We need to install like the pitch clock.
That sounds like a gambling thing.
Oh, I don't care what it is. Like, you can't tell me that, like, with all this legalized gambling, you're not going to go and have like a person in charge of all of it. I think Barack is the perfect guy. He loves sports. Big Chicago guy. Big Blackhawks, Bulls. I think he's a White Sox guy, not a Cubs guy. So, like, shout out to Barack, man. Like, that's a tough organization to root for. You're going to tell me big Jerry Reinsdorf guy? Like, shout out to Barack. I think he's a perfect guy. It's either Will Stone or Barack Obama. That's it. Those are the only two guys.
Those are your two options, America.
That's it.
Well, as long as I've been on this podcast, Will Stone has been dropping just fire takes on what he believes should be the future of college football. And I mean, so far so good on the realignment of the college football playoff. So all we have to do is get relegation into the mix and we're good to go.
That's right. That's why I started this podcast, just to make my own lobby for my own betterment.
Kyle is muted. RIP.
Oh, we lost you, Kyle.
At least oh no.
Oh. You there?
So Will, I was gonna make this.
Try unplugging your mic and then plugging it back in.
Have you turned it off and back on again? So no, he's not here. No. So Will, I was gonna make this joke so that he could respond, but this is actually a better opportunity. Kyle has a great voice for radio, but he's also got a face for radio. So I'm glad we're doing this on a podcast. So.
And he took his headset off, so he couldn't even hear you say that.
I don't know if he did.
All right, I think we're working on getting Kyle back. No. Wait.
No.
Wait, I think it says your mic's not connected.
Wait, is he on mute?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I see it. Can't unmute.
Yeah.
Mic isn't connected.
All right, well, we're going to keep talking for the live purposes.
Yeah, let's go. Oh,
Wait,
whoa.
there he is. There he is. Yeah. All right.
I'm not gonna mess with me. All right. If I die, I die.
Hey, Kyle, did you try putting your microphone in rice?
Silicone. Yeah. I've been putting silicone.
That's a great joke from my wife.
No ways.
All
Shout
right,
out.
so
Look, man, I gotta be honest, real quick. There was one night when I didn't know Will. Will pre-beard. Will did not have a beard. This is pre-Duck Dynasty Halloween costume. Will. I was with Will, Austin Joyce, and Graham Wheeler, and there was one night we were at the Zeta house, and
no, we weren't.
we were at the Zeta house.
No, we weren't.
And Will went to leave the Zeta house, and we actually left Will at the Zeta house, and
Oh my god!
and we were leaving, and I was driving Austin and Graham away, and Graham leans out the window and says, "My wave." And it was a younger J Kyle or Hobie Wan or Juan Kyle, or whatever you want to identify me as. It was a big night for them. Yeah. And Will as well. Big night for Will.
Just want to clarify that I never stayed at the Zeta house.
Sources say that Will Stone spent many nights at the Zeta house.
Okay, 12 minutes in, we can finally get to our scheduled programming.
No. I want to go down this rabbit hole. I like.
What do you think the Bears are going to do, Hayden? I really want to know what you think.
They're going to trade down. They have no reason to have to take the number 1 pick. They're going to trade down.
Yeah, but how far do they trade down is my question.
Depends on who's got the best offer.
Will, what do you think the best offer is going to be? I think the best offer comes from 2 teams. However, if you're the Bears, do you take the offer from the 2 teams?
Well, yes.
Is Houston going to have to give up a first-round pick? Is Houston giving up a first to move up 1 spot?
No.
If you look at what the Bears gave up last time they moved up from 2 to 1 to wait, was it 2 to 1 or was it 2? It was you're right. I'm sorry. I apologize. It was from the last time the Bears moved up from 1 spot to go from 3 to 2 to draft Mitchell, Kissin, boys, Trubisky. They gave up a second and a fourth, 2 seconds and a fourth. Okay. If you look at it, I think that they're probably going to have to stay. If you want to give up to move back 1 spot, I think that's a very simple compromise, right? Where you ask 2 seconds and a fourth from the Texans, and then you get to turn around and potentially sell 2 to 4 to the Colts to try to get the number 2 quarterback off the board. And then collect more second and thirds or second and fifths or second and fourths, whatever you want to do. But the question is do you believe in Jalen Carter as a prospect with the character concerns that he has?
Yeah.
He did. So to be fair, he turned himself in for arrest today and stood up to face the music. And there's a lot of questions about was he drinking that night? Was he this? Was he driving? Was he in the car? Right. There's a ton of variables there, but so
obviously I know what he did, but can y'all explain what he did for those who may not know?
Yeah,
obviously I know, but for those at home,
right? So not to go too much into this, but
sure.
So Jalen Carter, DT from Georgia, number 1 prospect in the draft by
defensive weapon from Georgia.
Yeah, by some people out there.
Multiple.
Great player.
Truly transcendent.
After Georgia won the title game, they were celebrating in Athens, and they celebrated at a strip club called called Toppers, one that we walked past. Some of our party may have gone into that place.
Shout
It
to Grant.
wasn't anybody on this show, but people that were there with us may have.
Shout out to the guy named after the state capital of Texas.
Happy birthday to those guys.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to him.
But so the players are there. They're having a good time celebrating, back-to-back titles. When they go to leave, Jalen Carter is in one vehicle and some other folks are in another vehicle, and they were seen, racing down the streets of Athens and going in and out of lanes, going into the opposite lane and then come back in and overtaking cars and things like that. The other car crashed going 104 and killed 2 people and injuries for the other 2 that were in the car. And so I think Jalen's involvement with that is still TBD. He got brought in for the racing and for the reckless driving and whatever else, which
Both
are misdemeanors.
yeah.
So if that's it, then it's probably fine, and he'll probably still get picked, where he would have gotten picked had this not happened. But there's probably stuff that we don't know, or there could be stuff that we don't know, and that's if it's worse than that, maybe that has an impact. But there's not enough for us to really say at this point.
Well, it's not our place to say either. We're just
Yeah.
here talking about it.
Yeah.
I do want to go and solidify my favorite draft analyst in the game, Todd McShay. He said early on that he had character concerns about Jalen Carter pre-crash gate, whatever you want to call it. Shout out Fernando Alonso, Hayden's favorite driver. Pre-crash gate, Jalen Carter had some character concerns from Todd McShay that were brought up. And it's one of these things that, I don't know how you don't know anything. I don't know anything. We're not in the Georgia or Athens Police Department. We don't know anything about him. But if this does come true, this is just one of the many red flags that will continue to be raised about Jalen Carter. Will his stock fall? Sure. But, you guys are both Cowboys fans. When have you guys ever cared about a red flag in your life?
Let's
you
go.
Guys,
We'll take him.
You guys signed a accused murderer 2 days after the draft. And to be fair, he turned out to be completely vindicated and then signed a huge contract with the Bengals. So, shout out to the 2 programs that care less about. This is a post Marvin Lewis Bengals too. So just a murderer's row.
The Bengals might be overtaking us in that department.
Okay.
Just want to put that out there.
Marvin Lewis was king of the murderer's row, right? That was it. He didn't care about nothing. He was I could save them all. So shout out to him, but the Cowboys are right behind him in terms of we don't care about character concerns.
Yeah.
And look, I'm a Niners fan, so we can't say much. Alden Smith may or may not have accused his ex-wife of sexual extortion and then potentially threatened to kill her / had multiple weapons charges, and we kept him on the franchise, I think, for the first 2 charges and let him go after the third. So, it is what it is. We can't say much.
3 strikes,
Well, that's
Plus,
almost a walk.
Technically, it was closer to 4, but it depends on how you look at it. Sure.
If Alden Smith didn't have character concerns, he's probably Hall of Famer. He's
on the Chiefs right now for sure.
Yeah, he had a good year with the Cowboys a few years back.
Well, he's a freak. Why wouldn't he?
Yeah,
if he could be signed off, he could be in the XFL right now and record 22 sacks.
Oh, he would literally crush it. I say literally, he would figuratively crush it in the XFL or USFL or whatever else going against.
He will
22-year-old future accountants.
Palm, crush it against. He will be like Demonis Sabonis against the Mavericks. So
don't get me started.
Okay.
So as a whole, I know that you're pretty deep into the weeds into this draft class, Kyle. But what are some position groups that you really like? In this year's crop?
Off the top, my 2 favorite defensive or my 2 favorite position groups are defensive line, number one, because you have, what do you guys consider defensive line? Do you consider like some of these edge guys defensive line? Do you consider linebackers? Where like I probably consider them defensive line. Like Will Anderson is maybe a linebacker by some, maybe defensive line by others. Like, but if he's an edge rusher, right? Like, and he's an all-time Von Miller type edge rusher. You have Jalen Carter, who's an all-time defensive tackle. You have Will's favorite player, Brian Breesy, who's an all-time defensive lineman. You look at former A&M guy, David Tyree or Tyree Wilson.
Tyree Wilson, yeah.
Tyree Wilson.
Well, I was watching the combine.
That the helmet catch guy?
That's the helmet catch guy.
Oh, sorry.
David
that was
Tyree.
on NFL Network like last weekend. So
nice.
You got Tyree Wilson. I mean, former A&M guy, but like you really look down the list. Like you have some freaks on that defensive line. That's my number one position group, but you can't help but look at this tight end class and go like, oh my God. I mean, Michael Mayer is a top 10 pick any other draft class. Now guys are saying he might be a second round guy because there's other tight ends that might go ahead of him. Like, oh my goodness, this tight end class is disgusting.
Yeah. Tight end's definitely a big one. And the Cowboys don't like to use premium picks on that position. And I like the guys we have, but I'm looking at a guy like Luke Musgrave, who's big and can run and like
couldn't hang with the Mountain West.
Oh my gosh, no, like that's a ball player right there. But
I mean, he had good games against Fresno State and Boise, but once again, like I'm biased against the Mountain West. So like, I mean, he had good games and he was great against both Fresno State and Boise. Had great games, was able to go out there. I mean, he looked like another wide receiver on the field. My concern is a little bit slender. Can he block? Like I want my tight ends to block. Like George Kittle, best tight end of all time. It's like fun. I mean, it's like Von Miller. Who could he go up against? Like Gronk, George Kittle, probably not. Like that's it. Like who else? Like I don't know.
Okay. That's how I feel about Kincaid though. Like I think Dalton Kincaid from Utah is a great, can get open and he's a great catcher of the football, but he's not a very big guy. Like he's probably, not to sound insulting, but he's probably more of a poor man's Travis Kelce. Like Kelsey's not known as a just devastating blocker, but I feel like Mayer, is it Mayer or Meyer? I've heard it both ways, but he's
the Barstool Chicago guys call him Michael Mayer.
Okay, so Michael Mayer, he's probably the best blocker of the bunch. Not great speed, but man, he's kind of a throwback tight end. I think you'll probably see him go in the first day of the draft, first round of the draft. But I like what you're saying about the D line, especially. I was watching the combine earlier tonight, and they've got Will Anderson with the linebackers. They've got Derek Hall from Auburn with the linebackers. These guys are edge guys. They're defensive ends. They're not going to be dropping into coverage that often. So if you include those guys, I think defensive line is very, very strong. Even the one techniques, Mozzie Smith, Siaki Ika, Keanu Benton. I know Mozzie Smith's your guy. We talk about him for a bit.
I mean, you can't help but look at him. I mean, especially at the combine, right? So you look at him at the combine. I mean, you look at his measurables, but beyond his measurables, you look at his game film, and it's like, man, he was so disruptive. And I found myself watching a lot of Michigan games this year. You can't help but watch the last Michigan game because TCU, but he was constantly disruptive. And I mean, you can't tell me that a defensive line coach isn't from a major NFL team is going to, like, I don't know, Mozzie Smith. There's a lot of guys that you look at like, oh, he's a Baltimore Raven. But Mozzie Smith, like, for me, it's like, that guy's going to be a Baltimore Raven. Like, I can't help myself but think, like, what is that guy going to do when he drops to 22 in the draft and he's going to be drafted by the Ravens? And he's going to, everybody's going to be like, why did we let that guy fall to 22? Like, he should have been a top 10 pick. Like, I mean, what is he, 6'6", 320, and moves the way that he does? He's got bend. He's got flex.
I think he's pushing 340.
God. I mean, you look at him and he's pushing 340. What is he going to
Yeah.
measure at the combine? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if he's smart, he maybe trims up a little bit and runs well. But like,
Yeah.
say like, hey guys, I can put on weight, no problem. That's really easy for me. Like, look, I put on weight better than anybody in the NFL. Like, I promise you that one. Like, it's really easy to put on weight, but for me, it's Mozzie Smith. It's just, oh God, he's a freak. He's a freak. I mean, I know that Will hates our friends at The Athletic, but you can't help but look at the athletic list and be like, oh my gosh, those guys getting drafted to the NFL. Like, I mean, not to jump ahead of ourselves, but Illinois has some freaks, man. Like,
They got some dogs.
oh God, these Canadians that they're getting out of, I mean, it out of Ontario is crazy. I mean, the Brown twins.
Have you seen some of these 40 times on these D linemen? It may be the most impressive showing from the big guys I've seen in my entire life. Like,
the human race is adapting, man. We are going to take out these Panthers here pretty quick.
Nolan Smith from Georgia, defensive end. He was a 5-star prospect, very highly touted, part of that very strong Georgia D line. He's like 6'3", 238, 240-ish. He ran a 4.39 40 today, official time, not unofficial. Like, we have giant human beings are running in the 4.3s. Like,
do we have a 40 time for you or me or Kyle or Chase? Because I don't
6'1" 40 is what I ran.
I don't know that I will or will not.
This time last year.
This time last year, probably like a 6'3", 6'4" now at this point. But I got a little bit of fast twitch lift.
Well, no, I'm 6'0", but that's like 6'0" but I'm sure that I've got the ability to at least like compete with these guys.
I'd like to think that I'm 5'11", but I'm probably like I'm probably like 5'10", 3. If you're going by the combine measurement.
It took me so long to figure that out.
I mean, you think you're on drugs the first 6 times you read it, but then
I'm like, what the heck are these numbers?
You kind of go cross-eyed for a second, but then all of a sudden you get used to it. But like I'm like 5'10" ish. 235, 240. So I could be like a second baseman in the Major League Baseball.
Well, I don't know what this means, but I weighed in close to 240 the other day, and one guy
you're not 240. There's no way you're 240.
Thank you. The guy at my office gym said the same thing. He's like, you don't look 240. I'm like,
you're not 240. Dude, brother, you got a lot of work to get to 240. We can get you there. It's going to take some work.
You don't know me, dude.
I actually am 240. As of this morning, I'm 241.2.
So. Dude, you're just as yoked as me. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Fat, maybe.
Welcome to the yoke club.
Muscle weighs more than fat, man.
I was just telling Brittany before we were recording that we should do like a friend's combine just to see like can I still run in the 5s? Or am I in the 6s?
Can we do that on the same day as the Waffle House ordeal? Can we just give me 24 waffles and not do it at Waffle House, but just at somebody's house, and we do the combine in y'all's backyard?
I say we do it your wedding day, man. We'll get in tuxes. I say we just do it on your wedding.
We have a few viewers right now, and there's a chance that Alexa may be one of them.
Alexa,
Alexa, comment if you're on board.
Comment if you're on board. I say we line up 40s, measurables, all wedding day. No, females don't have to be involved. I'm just talking like
no, equality. They can be involved.
They can be if they want to.
Okay,
you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome.
We should do the 40-40 challenge where you run a 40 and then down a 40. Or maybe down the 40 then run the 40.
Oh no, we did 440, whereas you had to down a 40 and then run a 400 meter. That's a challenge. You do that, like you can make it maybe 200, maybe 300 meters. But by that like 350, you're gonna want to throw up so bad. But I got it. I got the dog in me, man.
No, the dog's coming out of me. That dog coming out of me.
I can do it.
I'd rather do that than what Hayden just said. He wants to go eat 18 waffles, then run a 40.
No.
I can do that too.
You misunderstood.
Light work.
I would be doing the Waffle House challenge just at y'all's casa.
Discretion.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm not participating in nothing. Just
okay.
y'all are there as my entertainment. That would be beneficial to me by a long shot because I'm still planning on all these sources of entertainment that I'm gonna have to like provide myself for the Waffle House challenge, which I'm guesstimating is I'm targeting May. Will I don't know. By the way, I need to kind of figure that out a little bit
Yeah, we'll do
because
something.
I need to mentally prepare myself for when I'm gonna
Yeah, I think so.
get there.
And the stomach. We got to get some rice in you, some water. We got to start stretching that baby.
I can tell you, I'm
Shout out to
doing God's work right now.
shout out to Cool Hand Luke. Good bull hunting, Cool Hand Luke. We got to stretch that baby out.
Hayden, I know that you've been hitting the gym lately, so I want you to track your calories on MyFitnessPal during the Waffle House challenge. Just
And
so we
share
know
it
what it
no.
is.
Share it publicly. Coward.
I'll tell you, the past like 2 months, I'm averaging burning about 3,000 calories a day with my metabolic just existing, and then the 6 to 1,000 calories that I burn a day with working out, and
Look,
it's not going to be pretty.
I know Blake Stone and his 2 children are big listeners of the pod, so I'm going to keep this child friendly. But I'm going to tell you to something off here, brother. You burn 3,000 calories just from existing. I'm going to tell you to Blake Stone off here pretty quick.
Well, maybe I do more than that. I don't know. I'm just going off of what my app tells
Shout
me.
out. Okay, real quick. We're going to put a DraftKings promo code out there right now. Does Hayden burn more than 3,000 calories a day? Promo code TPPN. Sign up right now.
I'm Googling my metabolic rate right now.
There you go.
All right, while you do that, we're going to talk about. There was a couple more guys I wanted to get to before we got off on our 40 times. Have you the kid from Northwestern? You know about him, Kyle? I can't say his name. It's not him.
Nice. Oh,
not him. It's
not the tackle.
It's a defensive end. It's Adabaware. I'm butchering that, but
yeah.
He ran.
No, I didn't watch much combine today, so I didn't really see the standout guys. So I can't speak much to that. But tell me, come on, you go ahead. And some guys watch. Some guys get and watch. Some certain females, and I'm gonna lather up with this guy tonight, big boy. Let's hear
it. So his name is Adabaware. He is from Northwestern, defensive end. 280 pounds. He ran a 4.49 today. You're probably familiar with Kalijah Cansey, the Pittsburgh guy. He set the record for a defensive tackle time at a 4.67. Ran faster than Aaron Donald. So, same school as Aaron Donald, same kind of build, same position. Lots of similarities being drawn there.
Aaron who?
The former defensive player of the year, that Super Bowl champion.
Oh golly, you had to bring that one up.
He's on the West Coast, Kyle. I know you love West Coast football. I'm surprised you haven't heard of him.
Yeah, I'm surprised too. I can't say that I have.
He's actually pretty good. You should look him up.
Just a couple hours down the road.
Okay, so I got to be honest. Will was living with me during that draft, and I said this guy out of Pittsburgh might be a little bit short, might be a little bit short-armed, whatever. He's gonna be a freak. Like, he's so good. La. I said, man,
I wanted him so bad on the Cowboys.
I really hope. And the freaking Rams drafted him, and I was there, and I mean, there might have been a listener that punched a hole through the wall probably the week before, and then one of our other listeners might have went and punched another hole through the wall, and I went and I took was a Carlo Rossi glass, and I tried to throw it through that hole, and it didn't work. And let's say there was like tabs everywhere after the Aaron Donald pick because he went to the NFC West. God.
Yeah.
Any other division, just can you please go to like the AFC North? Or he should have been a Bengal, man. That is like, golly, man. He should have been a Bengal.
Yeah.
That hurts.
Yeah, I can't be too upset because we got Zach Martin out of that deal, but
Oh,
man,
congratulations.
Aaron Donald, Aaron
Shout out to
Donald
Punch Club
was
High School. Eric Armstead, freak,
was that
6'8", freaking awesome.
was that draft?
Sick. Oh wait, no, that was the Eric Reed draft. He was a bad pick by the Niners. You're right.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I liked Eric Reed coming out.
Well, we all did.
So to go a different direction, D line strong, tight end is strong. I think my two favorites might be cornerback and running back. Like, there's if you want a starter or if you want a good player at either of those two spots, you're going to find one in this draft if you want one. Like, there's probably 10 guys at corner that can really really play.
Well, I mean, to your point, I think that I think the best running back is going to be a day 3 pick. Like, I don't know who it's going to be, but like every year we go into the draft and we say like, oh, we like this guy, we like that guy, we like that guy, and the Niners take a second round running back every single year, and we end up cutting him after 2 years, and we take a 5th round guy that nobody's ever heard of, and he
You'll run him into the ground.
Oh no, that's not even true, because I mean, look at Elijah Mitchell compared.
That's not true because you can't find a Niners running back in fantasy that's going to give you consistent production. They're going to switch him every game.
No, they destroy him.
Except for McCaffrey now.
He's like 3 years in. Well,
McCaffrey's
McCaffrey just got there. I'm saying by the time that he gets 2 years into the league, he just got ran into the ground, man. It's over.
Look, I'm just saying Trey Sermon really hurts to this day. It still hurts me. Elijah Mitchell,
was that the second round?
Awesome. Third
Yeah.
round. I think it was a 3rd round. I don't think he was second. I think he was
day 2.
I think he was a mid. I think it was a comp 3rd round pick. And he was, I mean, I was so excited about him. And then all of a sudden we turn out like, hey, this guy, Elijah Mitchell, out of the 5th round. Like, he's great. I wish the Niners would trade all of Lafayette. Shout out to Matt Barnes. If he's a listener, hit me up, Hollywood John on Twitter. Big fan of yours. But, it's one of those things that, like, man, like year in, year out, just trade all our picks for 5th round picks. Can we just have all 3rd, 5th, and 7th round picks? I love it. I'd love that so much. And Cowboys fans, you're just like, I don't know. See if you get cash for yours, because I don't know. You guys just don't draft well. Or
they're typically like really solid. With a few exceptions, they're good at their 1st round picks. I hated the taco pick when it happened. Still
great
hate it
name,
now. Worst
name.
pick we've made in probably 20 years. It was a terrible pick. That's my thing. Like, I'm so big on the corners, and like I've been thinking that we're gonna like go that direction. Just because there are
so who do you like at corner? Who's your guy at corner?
Well, I was really
you guys trade up like flat out, like a team like has a brain fart, like the Raiders. Like, we're gonna trade you 1st round picks because we don't pay the extra money, whatever it is. Just stupid. Like, you get to go up and you get to have your pick of the cornerback class. Who's your guy?
I'm taking Witherspoon from Illinois.
Illini, let's go.
Yeah,
Illinois got them dogs in them.
All right, Hayden. Who do you? I mean, do you agree? I mean, you're a Cowboy fan.
I like to root for the Cowboys. End of statement.
Sick.
End of statement.
Whoever we pick, as long as I think I like them, I go back and figure out who we picked. I don't know all the 250 odd players that are in this draft, dude. I go back and I look at who we picked, and I'm like, you know what? I think we needed some help there. Or why the heck did we do that? I like that pick. I don't like that pick. I like this guy. I don't like that guy. We just see. We see where things fall, and then I analyze that for how it's going to benefit my dynasty team. Gonna be honest with you.
That's
fair. I only have a 1st round pick this year, and I'm not sure what to do with that.
Okay, Will, real quick, you're a Cowboys fan. You guys are. I mean, how do you feel about your cornerback position? Do you feel good? Would you rather, if you were given the chance, and you could? I mean, I'm teeing you up here pretty quick. If you're given the chance, you have the opportunity to draft a solid corner, or do you go with a more hybrid type safety with that 1st round pick?
So
there might be a guy who went to school.
There is a guy. I'll talk about
in Brazos
him,
County.
I would lean corner still.
You still
it
lean
depends
corner.
on it's because of the way the Cowboys are set up. Like they've got Jaron Curse and Malik Hooker under contract for a couple more years. They're likely to re-sign
Shout
Donovan
out to-
Wilson, another Aggie. And corner, like they do not, or I doubt they bring Anthony Brown back. So they have Diggs, who's great. They have Deron Bland, who can really play well in the
Shout out
slot.
to Central Catholic. Actually, no,
Dude.
not shout out to Central Catholic. Forget Central Catholic. Screw
Fresno
Modesto.
kid.
I hate Stanislaus County. Forget Central Catholic. Shout out to Garrett Martin. Shout out to Oakdale High School. Shout out, golly, Louis Bland, greatest wrestler I've ever seen in my life. Pinned me in 11 seconds. I mean, literally, blast.
What is happening to Kyle right now? Did we break him?
Deron Bland.
Kyle,
Kyle's very passionate.
Turn the California down. Chill.
Sorry.
Chill.
I apologize. Keep going.
He did the same thing when we had our coach draft, and I picked Sonny Dykes, who was a great pick, it turns out,
no,
by the
he
way.
Was a great pick, but I hate him. He's been to Cal.
Kyle's gone. He's gone.
All right. There you go.
Okay.
Apologize.
Okay. All right. Deron Bland, Fresno State alumni, great player.
Shout out.
But like they played musical chairs with the other corner spot, and like they're picking guys up off waivers and just throwing them out there, at the end of the season. And as much as I love Antonio Johnson from A&M. Yeah, I think he's a true do-it-all safety.
True hybrid.
Line
him up anywhere.
6'2 plus, 200 pounds plus.
Any chance he falls to day two? Can he fall to day two?
I think he can, but not very far. Like he's one of those, and it happens every year where day one's over, you're like, oh, these guys are still there. Like maybe there's a chance, and they go in like the first 2 or 3 picks.
Yeah.
He's probably one of those guys. But we'll talk about Aggies in a minute. But I'm really excited to watch Antonio Johnson run because I think he's a 4.4 guy, and I think that'll really boost his stock even more. There's probably teams that want to play him as more of a free safety, where we really didn't do that. We kept him in the nickel, where he could make a bigger impact, but he really can do it all on the back end.
I don't know how much I believe that. Like, I'm not saying that he can't. I'm just saying he hasn't. Is that fair? Like he didn't play deep for us. Like he was and I'm not saying that's not super valuable, right? Like, especially in the league that we have now, where you have Jalen Hurts going to the Super Bowl, where you want defensive backs that can play close to the line of scrimmage. You want a guy that's going to be able to go and attack the edge and potentially get tackles for loss, especially with those read options and different things that we do offensively. I think Antonio Johnson's very valuable. I don't know how much I trust him as a over-the-top Earl Thomas type free safety.
All right. And like he probably has the ability, but like you said, like it's similar to when Micah Parsons was coming out. He was a
God, don't start me on this one.
He was a middle linebacker. He never rushed the passer there, and we pick him.
So are you saying that our defensive coaches have positioned players wrong in the past? Guys, don't commit to A&M. Will Stone said it.
I'm just saying, like, we did what was best for us. Other teams will do what's best for them. Like, if you already got a strong nickel, like, pick Antonio Johnson, play him at free safety. Pick Michael Jordan, play him at center. Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, he can do it all back there. So,
okay, that's a little hyperbolic. Playing Michael Jordan at center.
He's not Michael Jordan, nor is he Micah Parsons, but he's a very good player.
I mean, he's a really good player, and who's saying that he's not a Micah Parsons type impact, right? Because you look at his measurables and you kind of look at him, like, well, you look at the frame, you look at the size, you look at the ability that he has, and you can't help but wonder what he will do in your team's defense. Like, if you're going to tell me right now the Niners are going to draft Antonio Johnson in the first round and replace Jimmy Ward with Antonio Johnson, like, oh my goodness. So you're telling me that we're lining up Fred Warner, Azeez Al-Shaair, Dre Greenlaw, and Antonio Johnson? Oh, that's
As a Cowboys fan,
gross
I
to me.
would be furious.
Oh my
Absolutely
gosh,
livid.
that defense is disgusting. You don't run against us. Like Jalen Hurts, bring it, brother. I don't care if Brock Purdy needs Tommy Johns. We're gonna kick your behind. Let's go.
I mean, I think like it's like you said with mobile quarterbacks now, especially if you're in the division with Hurts and some other guys
And
like
potentially Anthony Richardson.
yeah, like you want a guy on your team like an Antonio Johnson who he can go cover if you want him to. He can also spy the
And
quarterback.
the White Vic, Daniel Dimes, the White Vic.
Dude, he's not getting
$45
paid
million man.
Yeah, I was gonna say
$45 million man. Like
Okay,
that guy
that is asinine.
Sidebar. Did you hear that? Like, I don't remember who said somebody released that as like a
no, his agent's an
fake
Eagle
news
fan.
story. Yeah, something
his
like
agent's
that.
from Philly. His agent's an Eagle fan. Like, why wouldn't he do that? Like, yeah, that's it. That's
just to like try
sense.
and like raise.
I had not heard that.
Yeah,
no. Chris Webber's agent was a Laker fan back in the day, and he's the one that killed the Kings, plus the NBA, plus David Stern, plus all the things. Whatever.
Sure.
I hate them all.
So we still haven't got to like one of our like key questions of this episode is, and we talked about a ton of guys here, but there's still a couple.
Who was your pick for the Bahrain Grand Prix?
Who is like? Give me two names that you haven't told me already that are some of your favorite players. I can go first if you need me to.
Okay, so in terms of favorite players, like total, like
even if you
what
don't
do you
think
mean in terms of favorite players? Do you mean guys that you wish your favorite team? My favorite team is the San Francisco 49ers.
So we'll do that next. We'll do like who do you want your team to pick? Or
favorite
who do you think
guys?
Pick? Just players that you like a lot, even though you think you probably won't, like they probably won't make it to you.
I mean, Will Anderson is.
Well,
I don't want to sit like it, but I'm sorry, but
no, it's fair.
Get guys like him. The last time we had a guy like him was Von Miller. I hate to bring this up to everybody. Von Miller was a Super Bowl MVP. Unbelievable. Defensive player of the year in and year out. Like, depending on whether he won the award or not, he was the most valuable defensive player every single year. I mean, Will Anderson is that type of guy. The fact that, like, the Cardinals might get him makes me sick to my stomach. I really hope that the Chicago Bears don't trade back and take him at number 2, because I'd rather face Jalen Carter and his character concerns and just the run stuffingness than going up against Will Anderson every single year, because that guy is a game changer. You have to completely change your offense to run away from him every single play. Will Anderson he's a freak. I mean, he's everything that you don't want in an offense.
He's a monster, and it's not just that, like, it's not that he's just like he's physically gifted, but like he plays pissed off. Like he's out there like his hair's on fire against, like he played at Bama. Like there's times where they're blowing guys out, and like
he could have sat out this year and still been the number 2
absolutely
pick.
Yeah.
Number 1, depending on if guys like if the Texans stay at that pick and don't need a quarterback,
right, or
the Bears stay at that pick and don't need a quarterback, and the Texans don't trade up, whatever it is. Anderson's still the pick, right? Like, so I think it's Anderson. The other guy that I love that we touched on earlier. I mean, Maisie Smith is a freak, man. Like, I mean, everybody talks about Jalen Carter as the number 2 pick in this draft. Maisie Williams, Maisie Smith, like Maisie Williams. Shout out to Game of Thrones. Maisie Smith, like, is a
from
guy
Michigan.
that Maisie Smith from Michigan. Yeah, shout out to the whatever Ice King, must be an Ohio State guy. But Maisie Smith, he's so good. He's so freaky. He's so twitchy. His numbers are gross. Will loves Brian Breesy, but like I'm going to tell you right now, I would rather have Maisie Smith than Brian Breesy. And I like Brian Breesy.
I told Kyle before we hopped on that I'm not the biggest fan of Brian Breesy. And like he's been.
If you just look back in terms of defensive linemen that have been that ranked that highly coming out of like 247, I don't mean to put too much pressure on the 247 or high school recruiting guys, but most of the time, guys that are that good coming out of high school tend to be that good going into the pros. And Brian Breesy is one of those guys. He's a multiple defensive lineman that could do a lot of different things. Will made the comparison. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Will. I apologize. I don't mean to.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, is he comparable to DeMarvin Leal? Because, you know, I thought the Steelers picking Leal was a great fit, probably the best fit for Leal because, you know, with his body type and you know, like his stature, he's a 3-4 end. Like if you build him in a lab, he's a 3-4 end. Like that's what he is, and that's not what we ran at A&M when we had Leal, and you know, maybe Brian Breesy, like you mentioned earlier, like maybe he was out of position, or maybe he could have fared better in a different scheme. But I think it probably, like, I'm being too tough on him. You know, he's had 2 injuries 2 years in a row, and you know, he was awesome as a freshman.
Is one of those injuries? I wouldn't call it injury, right? Like, I'm sorry, but like your sister getting a terminal illness, I don't know if I'm gonna call it an injury. Like, he needed to go back. Also, like, I'm partial to Mid-Atlantic guys. I still think that, like, Ohio, what has made Ohio State so dominant is their dominance in the Mid-Atlantic, and Will knows this. And I still think North Carolina is a uncovered gem, and if they really decide to start recruiting the Mid-Atlantic, they could dominate people. Virginia Tech's in the same boat. Like, it's gross. I love Breesy.
Is Chase Young from that area?
Oh,
is he from Maryland? Is he Maryland?
DC guy. You know who else is a Maryland guy?
Stephon Diggs.
But more importantly, the greatest offensive weapon of our generation that was never really truly potentialized.
Tavon Austin,
baby. Love him. Speaking of Tavon Austin, we have the next Tavon Austin in this class, and he went to a school that Will and Hayden really love. I don't.
Obviously. So for my favorite players, A-Chain's one of them. Yeah, like I love Devon A-Chain.
You can't tell me anybody, like, it doesn't matter who you are. You can't help but love this guy. Like, you look at that speed and you kind of go like, oh my gosh, that is truly not just speed, acceleration, shiftiness, all the things that you want out of a true offensive weapon. That is a guy I hope ends up in a Kyle Shanahan type system. Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, Eric Bieniemy in Washington. I'll give it to. I mean,
Mike
if he ends
McCarthy.
up as the Kansas City Chief, I'm gonna kill somebody. Hayden, you better watch out, man. Like, I'm gonna I know that you love the Kansas City Chiefs, Hayden. You know, Tito's and all that stuff. You better watch out, man. You better hope. I wish Chase better hope that he doesn't become a Kansas City Chief. If he becomes a Kansas City Chief,
I feel unnecessarily targeted at this moment.
You should. You should.
We just what?
I wish Chase were here because Devon A-Chain is Chase's favorite player of all time.
And if he ends up in the Kansas City Chiefs, like, if he is that, Hayden's Dynasty League needs to be the #1 pick next year, because
that won't happen. It's gonna be Bijan, because the guy that has the 101 is from LaGrange and loves the Longhorns, so he's taking Bijan. No matter
you
where
better
he
hope
goes.
that you have #2, because A-Chain might be 1,000-yard receiver.
Actually,
year in and year out.
I have the 112 because of
you're a champion. I get it.
That right
congratulations.
there.
All right.
Is that right there?
Anyway, A-Chain, you know, I listen to a lot of or I read a lot of Dane Brugler, and he had an article on Outliers. Athletic. Great, probably my favorite draft writer out there.
99 cents a month, your first 12 months. Promo code Gluck.
They're not a sponsor.
Shout out to Jeff Gluck. No free promos. Sorry, Hayden, delete this.
But they had.
You act like I'm actually a producer. I'm just here for the vibes, dude.
He had an article on Outliers, and you're talking about Bryce Young being, you know, sub 6 foot, sub 200 pounds, and Devon A-Chain, you know, he's probably under 5'10" and probably, you know, under 190. You know, he's probably 185. But I'm interested to see what he weighs in at the combine. I'm really hoping he runs. I want him to go out there and bust a, you know, 4.21, set the record, because he probably can. He's that freaking fast. But what makes him special, like, obviously his speed is awesome, but he's a running back. He's not a track star. Like he's a running back first. Very strong in his lower body. Great vision, can make great cuts, and once he gets in the open field, like he's gone. Like if the Chiefs pick him, that is terrifying for the rest of the National Football League. That is going to suck if they somehow end up with him. Would love for the Cowboys to get him in like the third round. Doubt that
Tony
happens.
Pollard's going to be a Washington Commander next year.
No,
we're tagging Tony, so
enjoy paying the 2 running backs.
We're not paying Zeke. I'll tell you that.
Hey, Jibs, enjoy paying 2 running backs.
Yeah,
Jibberson.
My other favorite player is Lucas Van Ness, who we
have
not discussed yet. But Lucas Van Ness from Iowa was not a starter for some reason. I'll admit it's weird, but when you watch him, you're like, this guy's awesome. Like he's just like he crushed Skoronski when they played Northwestern.
Don't give me that. Don't
he
don't
did.
Give me that. But like anybody that's telling me like Skoronski, like I'm sorry, but like if we're gonna break it down, like if we really want to, I'll make a blog for the ineligibles, rank my position. And Skoronski's not a top 5 offensive tackle prospect, and he might be really good. I just don't think he's gonna be really good at offensive tackle. Like Skoronski, I mean, and like there's all the things about like the short arms, this and the other thing, like the mock kid out of North Dakota State, like oh my god, he's got short arms. He's gross, man. Like I would not like if I'm a defensive end, like it's like oh no, I don't want to play this guy. Like please tell me we don't schedule North Dakota State. Like I'm not saying Luke Van Ness isn't going to be good. I think he could be really good. I mean, guys that I really trust, like Daniel Jeremiah and Todd McShay, love this guy. Guys that I don't trust, and most time, like, hey, if they don't like him, I know he's going to be really good. Like Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper's not a fan of him, so I was like, oh yeah, this guy might be pretty good. Like, he might be. If you're not good enough to start on Iowa, give me a little bit of room on this one.
Yeah, no, it is peculiar, and Dan Brugler thinks highly of him. He said the same thing. He's like, wasn't technically a starter, but like played a lot of reps and performed well. But he's just when I see him, when I see clips of him, he's just bull rushing dudes. Like he's so powerful. He looks like Ivan Drago out there.
He gets it done in a lot of different ways too.
Yeah, but
he's got the inside rip. He's got the outside swim move. He can go. He's thrown a spin move, SPIN, not SWIM, like move at guys. Like I mean, he does have multiple ways of getting it done, which not a big deal. But Von Miller also had multiple ways of getting it done.
That's true.
I mean, it's in the show notes. Can we please talk about Tyree Wilson?
Yes. So
come on, Will.
I put in the show notes ones that got away. Tyree Wilson was here. Like he was at A&M for a couple of years. He was actually he was recruited by Kevin Sumlin. Was in Jimbo's like transition class, and Jimbo had to fight to hang on to him. Fended off Arkansas and kept him in the fold. But I remember watching this dude's high school film, and he was raw.
You could have went to the Big 12 because of lack of one-time transfer rule.
I don't know. I think he just wanted to go there.
I think that like he was given a waiver because of a one-time transfer rule, and he was given a waiver, and I think we allowed him to go to Texas Tech because he wanted to go to Washington. That might have been at the time in one of our like future season schedules. No,
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Well, there was another guy in his class, same position, Jeremiah Martin, who did go to Washington or did transfer to Washington.
Okay,
and
I think I'm getting that mixed up then.
Probably, but Tyree, like he played at a small school, but he's always been huge. He was 6'6", 220 some odd pounds coming out, super explosive off the line of scrimmage, just super long arms, incredibly violent, big hitter. But when he got to A&M and when he got into games, wasn't the player then that he is now. So like a lot of A&M fans like to bash our staff and be like, hey, like, how'd you let this guy get away? He's gonna be a first round pick. Like, what were you doing? I mean, I saw Tyree Wilson get in the game against Clemson and just got, like, no offense to him, he's a great player now, but he got crushed by their left tackle and like was not a factor in that game. And he was up and down here. He had some good moments and some not so good, but he was behind DeMarvin Leal and Michael Clemens and Tyree Johnson, and he went where he can get playing time, and that's great for him. It worked out well for him. He's going to be potentially a top 5, definitely a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. But
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
Uh-uh.
I've seen guys that have him over Anderson.
Who?
There's a couple out there.
Mel Kiper. I'm sorry, but like I just
it may
don't
be
believe
Mel.
that. I just
it may
like,
be Mel.
I just don't believe that. Like you can't tell me that. I mean, you just I think he's great, and I think that he could be an uncovered gem if you put him in the right system. But I mean, I hope that he ends up, for his sake, not the Niners' sake. I hope he ends up in a system like Seattle where he gets to be able to pin his ears back and go after guys.
That's possible.
Things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think ideal situation for him is ending up in a place like Detroit, right, where you have some really good interior defensive linemen, and he kind of gets to line up opposite
Aggie head coach Dan Campbell.
Who?
Dan Campbell.
I don't know. Austin isn't a big fan of Dan Campbell. I know Austin doesn't like Dan Campbell, but you look at it and you just kind of say, like, he ends up in the right situation, he's going to be great. And I'm not saying he's going to be great, but like,
obviously wish we could have kept him here. Like, you think about what if. There's a couple what ifs in here. Christian Gonzalez is like, a lot of guys have him as the number 1 corner in the draft from Oregon. He's from Frisco, like 3-star kid coming out. He almost got one of the last scholarships in one of our classes, and we were like, nah, we're going to go elsewhere and not take him.
I'm a Fresno State fan.
And now he's awesome, and he'll be, top 10 or 15 pick. Drew Sanders, went to Alabama coming out of Denton Ryan, great player. Ended up in Arkansas in the transfer cycle. Wanted to come to A&M. We were like, we're full. Like, we don't know if we can make room for you. Goes to Arkansas, has a hell of a year. He might be a first rounder. He might be a first round pick.
I mean, he's, I think, at worst a day 2 pick. Like, he could be really, really good.
If the Cowboys got him at 58, I would be dancing in the street.
Don't do that. I hope he ends up in the AFC. I want him to go to, like, once again, like, he's a Ravens pick. Like, that's a guy that's a Raven.
Oh gosh.
Right? Like, that guy belongs in the AFC North. That guy belongs in the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals. Like, that's where he ends up. Like, I can hope.
Yeah.
But
probably on that note, so like who are some guys realistically that you could see the Niners picking up with their first pick in the second round? Is it 60?
I think it's 62.
62. The Cowboys are 58.
No. Would we be 61? I think we're 61. I think we're 61.
Gotcha.
62 61.
And no first rounder, because
if A-Chain is there, great. If not, we're gonna take some, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, this tight end class is so deep. I can only hope that we take some guy that I've never heard of, because our second round picks always stink. Most likely we're gonna take freaking, like, we're going to take, like, Roshan Johnson, and he's not going to start it down for us. I mean, we're going to take some second-round running back that, like, it's going to be, like, really hyped, and people are like, oh, my gosh, this guy's going to be awesome. Guys are going to take in their 5th round of their fantasy drafts next year, and he's not going to get, like, 3 touches left. In terms of, like, 5th-round picks, I really want... I don't know who I want. I mean, I watched a lot of Iowa State this year. Iowa State's got a couple guys I really want.
The receiver,
Xavier Howard,
Hutchinson,
Xavier Hutchinson. Okay, yeah. I mean, you look at him; he's a big, strong guy. I mean, you can't help but wonder what he's going to do with Brock Purdy. He had a really good year last year. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know who's going to be our starting quarterback next year. So it's like,
right.
For me, I really get, but in terms of, like, second round picks, I don't know who's going to be in there in the second round, right? Like if you listen to
I
Mel
know.
Kiper, like every guy ends up getting drafted. Like Mel Kiper has 50 first round draft picks. Like that's just like it's like what the hell's going on?
And there's some great play. Like this is a really solid class, like top to bottom. I think it's better than last year was. But there's
Guys that
always
I
going to be.
really don't want to see in the NFC West are Michael Mayer, Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez, Drew Sanders. I mean, I really hope that Arizona does something stupid and drafts somebody like.
I'll tell you what I don't want.
I hope Arizona drafts like Will Levis or something like that.
That'd be funny. I do not want Bijan Robinson in Philadelphia. I will
I don't think he ends up there. I think he ends up in Buffalo.
I'm breaking my TV if he's an Eagle at the end of the draft. Like,
hey,
that's
Hayden. Can you go over to Will's house first day of the NFL draft, and in case that happens, can you film it and post it on?
We're on Bijan watch.
Oh, dude, I will make sure Will has he's getting ready to smash the TV and he looks around. Are you recording this? Yeah. Okay. And then he rips the newly mounted TV and just makes sure that I'm looking and videoing, and then slams it down on the floor. Like I can make sure that happens because he's going to want to make sure that this hits the interwebs for sure.
Shout out to DraftKings, promo code TPPN.
Yeah, we might go viral for the first time.
If we go viral for the first time, I just want to go on record that Bijan's going to be really good.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he's probably going to be in the end. Like he could, I mean, I see him like 3 NFC East destinations. I can see the Cowboys drafting him just because of Jerry loves his running game. But on top of that, he's not just a running game. He's a true offensive weapon. Like I hate to say this, but like
he's a fantastic player.
Man, it is like one of these things. Like he can't help but kind of be like, oh my gosh, I kind of buy into him being a top 10 prospect.
I feel like
he's at running back.
I feel like he's probably gone before he gets to us.
Well, yeah.
That's what I'm like. There's so many different ways the Cowboys could go. Like Bijan's one of them if he's there. Also think about Jackson Smith and Jigba. Like I thought he was a lock to go top 10 this time a year ago. Now he's been injured and people don't know. Like he's not super fast, but great route runner.
This wide receiver class is so disgusting. Like
in a good way.
Yeah, no, I think Quentin Johnson's a really nice player, but people talk about Jackson Smith and Jigba being the third wide receiver off the board,
or fourth even.
I mean, that's if the Niners can somehow get Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, I don't see could you see him falling to 61? Like, no way. Like somebody's trading up. Nobody's letting a guy like his caliber fall that far. It's just not possible.
No, I mean. If like the Cowboys and
again, there's just so many guys that I can't see. Like this is not a draft class. Like obviously I love Jalen Carter. I love Will Anderson. There's going to be teams that draft quarterbacks that really regret it going forward because there's so many first round talented players that are going to be game breakers. Shout out to NFL Street 2 in the NFL. In the next 10 years. Hayden, I see you shaking your head. Like what? I mean, who's your quarterback? Who do you like at quarterback? Who's the guy that you're sitting there? I know that you're a big Texans fan. Like who do you want the Texans to take at number 2?
Bro, if I had it my way, we're still rocking with Mills, baby.
How do you feel? Okay. How do you guys feel about Tanner McKee? Just real quick, not to get too deep in the weeds about this quarterback
We've
class.
been deep in the woods, dude. You guys have been down rabbit holes inside like 3 woods deep.
Shout out to Lisa and Blake Stone for listening to this live.
There's 0 viewers on my count right now. I don't know about you.
There's no one on here.
Well,
at the moment there's 0.
Because I'm not listening.
Oh
right
yeah,
now.
I sent you a link,
But when Lisa and Blake listen to this, I hope they know that I do appreciate them. But
They're not going to make it an hour and 9 minutes, and I'll tell you that right now.
I know. Annie's over here wearing pink pants and a dress top, being like, "Hey, we're
Dude, it's sunny there. It's always sunny in California. That's what they always say. It's
we're
dark
snowing."
here.
But end of the day, we're already into it. What do you guys think about this? Like, who's your quarterback? Who do you guys like? There's so many good ones.
My guy's Bryce Young.
Richardson.
Oh, Hayden, let's go, brother.
Just like the way he plays, man.
Hayden's big. Hayden's big in the stocks, big risk taker. So he's willing to invest in Anthony Richardson.
I think so, though. Like the way that he plays the game. I mean, he's got the arm to throw it down the field, but he can also make the plays if he needs to with his legs. I mean, I like that about him. I like it. He's an explosive
runner.
That's bingo. Exactly what I'm saying. He's explosive.
Everybody's seen the clip this week on Twitter that's going around about the Tennessee game where he dodges 3 guys and stays in the pocket and darts it downfield. Oh my gosh, that just excites me. You get that kind of frame and that kind of arm talent. My gosh. Everybody talks about Will Levis. No Kuiper's number 1 guy is
Will
Levis.
Why.
No,
I don't know why.
This guy's disgusting.
No,
and not in a good way. He's Gibbs. He ain't Gibbs.
Speaking of Gibbs,
how about
Gibbs? How about Jahmyr Gibbs?
There you go. Hey, we're
another great back.
Same brainwaves. Finally, we're on the same wave, man.
You want to talk about a guy that really does everything and does everything well?
Are you? No. We're not talking about me. We're talking about the NFL draft, Kyle.
Can I toot my own horn here for a second? Kyle, put your ears back on.
You drafted him in our fantasy draft. I know.
No. When Jahmyr Gibbs was coming out of high school, he was ranked in the 700s, coming out of some high school in Georgia. And A&M offered him, and I think he visited. I'm like, this kid is outstanding. This is a freaking football player right here. Why is he a 3-star? And then, we don't get him. He goes to Georgia Tech, and then, he's pretty good. Transfers to Bama, tore it up last year. Phenomenal player. Wish he would have been an Ag, but as long as he's not a Eagle or Niner or Commander, I'm good.
Giant. Can he be a Giant?
They have Saquon, so for now.
I gotta be honest. If you're in the okay, Cowboys fans, shout out Gibbs, get on this right now. Text me later. If you're given the choice, you could pay if you're a Cowboys fan and you could pay Saquon $36 million or whatever the top franchise tag for a running back would be, or the Giants could go and shave that money and bring in a guy like Gibbs or
you're saying $36 million total, right? Not a year. Is Saquon getting 30? Is he getting 36 a year?
Isn't that what he said? What he wanted?
Oh my God! I'm not paying
in
this economy. I'm not paying a running back $36 million.
What do you pay? What
are the Cowboys paying Zeke again?
Too much.
I think they're paying 26.5.
And we're about to pay Pollard.
Pollard's getting 10.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're going to franchise him for 10, and we're still paying Zeke, so we're still paying 30 for a running back.
We're cutting Zeke.
They both can't carry the ball.
Zeke is going to be a great offensive tackle for the San Francisco.
We're not going to cut Zeke.
That's the thing.
Right tackle for the Niners.
We're just not going to cut Zeke.
Okay. We've talked about everything. Real quick, I want to talk about offensive line because I love the offensive line.
I thought we were going to talk about F1, but go ahead.
Okay, just real quick, let's talk about offensive line. Who are your guys' favorite offensive linemen besides Peter Skoronsky? Because I know Will's a nerd and he loves the nerds.
I like Skoronsky. I hate that he gets crap for having short arms.
I think the short arms thing is bullshit.
It's so stupid. Stupid.
So, what was the Patriots offensive line coach for a long time? D's
nuts.
Some idiot name. whatever his name was, DiVincenzo or some stuff like that. His point, Hayden, Will, was it doesn't matter how long your arms are, if you're pulling a guy in and blocking him right close to the body, And guys like Soronsky and this Marty Mock out of or Corey Mock out of Marty Mock was the Missouri quarterback. Corey Mock out of North Dakota State. Even though they got short arms, I would rather have a guy like that than one of these. Well, that's not totally true. I want Broderick Jones. I wish if Broderick Jones could somehow fall to the Niners, I hope he comes up with a gun charge. The Niners can draft him.
God, don't hope for that.
Dude, you want to see who's got a gun charge?
God.
How many times is Kyle going to pretend like he's leaving the podcast by taking?
Well, no, I left. And the only thing that took me back was your sunglasses, Hayden. So yeah. I got to give that to you.
Shout out to Pug, the gas station sunglasses brand outside of College Station. These were from Chili Fest specials 2022. Nice. Won't be returning, unfortunately. I did my last Chili Fest last year. RIP. Yeah, it's my childhood. But
okay.
O-line wise, I like Steve Avila from TCU, the guard. I like him a lot.
Ooh, I like that one too. Okay.
Hope he's there at 58 for us to pick him.
Yeah, I would hope so. Well, I hope not. How about that? That's what I meant.
Okay,
hope not.
Gotcha.
Hayden, who are you? We've talked. Me and Will have talked. Do you have any guys that you like / love?
According to NFLDraftBuzz.com, Paris Johnson Jr., number 3 ranked scouting report. Yeah, I don't know. He has 6 feet over 6 inches, so that seems pretty good to me. I don't know anything about guys that don't catch balls or run balls or throw balls.
I'll tell you who's interesting is the other Ohio State tackle, Dawan Jones, who's like 6'8", 375.
You can't tell me that big isn't gonna be
someone on Twitter had the perfect analogy. They're like, pass rushing against him is like trying to run around a city block. Like
that dude is 375 pounds. Oh my god.
No, he's enormous.
I'm very excited to see what he weighs in at because it's going to be a lot.
That's a big man. I'm gonna have to look him up now. Hang on.
He's gonna have like an 8-foot wingspan or like 8-foot plus wingspan easily.
Crazy.
But anyways, it's a big year for Ferrari, right?
No.
It's
an average
do or
year
die
for Ferrari.
It's make or break, right?
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay.
It's like this happened in 2013. It happened in 2008. There's so many Ferrari do or die years. I know. We're gonna go to dinner. I promise them sushi later. I promise.
Are we going?
If you can get here within the next 20 minutes, I think it's
going
to take.
Fly me out, Cali Kyle.
All right, I'll work on that.
I got Southwest points.
I honestly, we're gonna talk F1 real quick because I know Hayden's a big F1 guy. Even though I wish we were talking NASCAR.
I'll be up in.
Hey, and you're dressed like a NASCAR fan today.
Yeah, if we're going to talk about it in terms of dress, I'm the F1 guy, you're the NASCAR guy, but it's the other way around. NASCAR, watch out for Richard Childers Racing. They're going to have Kyle Busch is going to the Final Four this year. That's it. Most unhinged episode ever. Yeah, I can't.
You sent that like 30 minutes ago, but it's still true.
Shut up. Shout out to the brides of the pod.
Imagine putting up with us.
I know. I can't
couldn't be me.
Couldn't be me.
I wouldn't watch us either, honestly.
All right, Hayden. All right, you're going to tell me right now who's going to come in third in this Constructors Championship.
Oh, third?
I'll give you. I don't see a world where Ferrari and Red Bull don't finish 1-2 in some order. I can't. I'm not going to argue it with you. Who's coming in third? Is Aston Martin legit?
No.
They're
gonna be better than they were last year.
Believe in Bonesaw Airlines. Believe in Aramco. Believe in Saudi Arabia, man.
That's not where I'm gonna put my money.
Hey, in this hour and 19 minutes, Kyle has endorsed Barack Obama and Saudi Aramco.
I didn't endorse them. I just said that their money can probably make an F1 car go really freaking fast.
Okay, no amount of money can stop you from having a 5-stop strategy in Monaco.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I'm just
no
saying.
arguing that one.
I'm
All right,
just
all right.
saying.
Right now, would you?
It's going to be Ferrari coming in P3 in the constructors. I think Mercedes is going to get it together this year. Mercedes, they look like they're dragging in testing. Okay, I get that. But I believe in Mercedes' ability to engineer a good car over time. They're going to cut the BS out of Lewis's testing cars over the years. We're not going to be bouncing up and down like we were last year.
All right.
They're going to be okay. I think they're going to come in P2 this year. I think it's going to be close. Red Bull's going to carry it to the finish line easily P1, but I think it's going to be close, but Mercedes is going to come out on top.
Where does Checo, not F1 fans, this is what we call Sergio Perez. Shout out to North America. Shout out to Mexico.
It's not just
where
just
does
F1
he
fans.
finish? Where does he finish in terms of the construction instead of the drivers' championship? I'm going to give you the over/under of 4.5. Over or under?
Over. Over is in like better than that.
But you're going to go ahead and say Mercedes is going to still be second in the.
Yeah.
This is
I haven't worked.
So you're predicting Red Bull dominance then?
Yeah. Red Bull dominance. I think Charles is going to do really well, but I think
Shaw.
overall,
his name is Shaw.
Leclerc.
French guy.
Monegasque.
For the uninitiated, thank you.
Yeah, come on, Will. Get your
Gotcha.
stuff together.
Will, that Monaco is always raced on Memorial Day weekend, so you can count me in on watching that. By the way.
While you're floating?
There might be a member of the pod turning 31 that day. So if you guys...
That's right.
Oh, no, R.I.P. Kyle.
Man, it's probably for the best.
Well, Will, tell me who is your favorite F1 driver? Because we have to go down this rabbit hole.
It's Mad Max.
Is it Super Max?
Yeah.
Super Max, Super
Verstappen, I mean, he's got the coolest name. He's young. He's probably going to be the Michael Jordan of racing. So,
do you know that there is an American driver this year?
I did not know that.
There is. His name's Logan Sargent. He's from Florida. He's racing for Williams.
Like the name Sargent.
Logan Sargent.
Supporting the troops.
So F1 did a welcome, first day, welcome back to F1 school, that kind of post. Logan's one, they had all these different things. My favorite food is oh God dang it.
I got it. Don't worry. Hey, let's go ahead and end it, and then you can tell me about this after we end.
Super
cool?
Mox.
All right. Oh, okay. He's back. Hey, Kyle, thanks for tuning in.
Oh, no, not this angle.
Thanks for coming in today.
Phone died. Or computer died on the phone. Love you guys.
All right. Go get some sushi.
Brittany, thank you for listening.
All right.
Even though you had to listen because you live in the house with one of the recorders, Annie just left. She took the dog for a walk. She might not come back. Might be.
Dude, go get the sushi. Go get the sushi.
She might have she might have left me for good. If not, we'll have you guys out here in April. There might be a big day going on. I can only say this because I know that she's not listening to the podcast. So we'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. That's Callie Kyle. That's Hayden Garland. I'm Will Stone. We are the Ineligibles. See you next time.
Bye.